everyone, my name is Tiffany. I'm from Beijing, China. I go to a private university.
Hello everyone, this is Akshay. I'm from Mumbai, India. I go to a public university.
My name is Fatima, originally from Nigeria. I go to an HBCU, meaning historically black colleges.
My name is Tingwen, and I'm from Vietnam. I go to a community college.
I want to be able to influence the world, and the United States stands out as a pace setter in research. I'm so excited about being here.
In my opinion, U.S. degree is extremely impressive, and that makes studying abroad in the U.S. an excellent choice.
There are many types of institutions in the United States.
I think it's just so unique that there's so many to choose from.
I had to make a major choice between the type of university that I was supposed to attend. The major factor that I considered was the scholarship opportunities that were available and the alumni network.
I've heard so much about the HBCUs as historically black colleges. I chose those because I wanted a school that really represents me.
As a humanities student, I prefer seminars instead of lectures because I find myself better understand the material if we get to discuss it in class. That led into my decision of going to a private university.
I chose a community college to study because most of the community college offer affordable costs, and they often offer a lot of majors you can choose from.
Some of the things I find that are in common between different types of institutions in the US is that the curriculum are more comprehensive.
It is more practical oriented that really helps you get hands-on experience about what you're learning.
Students can benefit from forward-thinking technology and modern facilities.
And I love the diversity, the fact that it's a melting pot for everywhere in the world. And so it's an awesome experience for me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our today's session, to our February sessions. We are very happy to welcome you all today here, and we are very excited that you are participated and interested in our webinars. We hope that all the February webinars that we have planned, and you can see our agenda on our website, are going to be all useful to you. Okay, so I would just like to remind you that Education USA Virtual is here to assist you with interesting information and useful information that you can use in the path for applying for your studies, for graduate and undergraduate studies in the US. And on our website, you can find our agenda. You can find useful courses that can help you to navigate the process. You also have the help of our advisors in the nearest Education USA centers where you are located. So you can go on our website and find it exactly. And one of our advisors will assist you during the process. And today, guys, as I've already mentioned, we have an interesting invitee, which will present on an interesting program that not many of our students would apply for, I think. So this is forensic science. And I was so excited when we reached Colin because I think he would be so excited and so charismatic about talking specifically about this topic. So I hope that you will have a lot of questions to him, and he will present to us, and he has an interesting presentation. And I will just give him the floor. Forgot to mention that Colin is from John Jay College of Criminal Justice. So Colin, I will just give you the floor. You can just tell us more information that we are so excited to hear about.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Colin Wiggins. I am a senior academic advisor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, which is part of the City University of New York, located in New York City. We are the largest public university in the world, in New York City. And today we are going to speak about criminal justice and STEM. So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math, but specifically those majors that you can study in the US that are STEM with criminal justice. I like to say these majors and these careers are all of the things that you can see on television and listen about on podcasts. So CSI, FBI, criminal investigation. I'm going to go over a lot of those careers and how you can study them in the United States and bring that education back to your home to have a very fulfilling and rewarding life in these areas. So that's me. So here's me again, Colin A. Wiggins. I love to travel, and my husband and I were just in Kazakhstan this fall. We were in Astana. We've always wanted to go, and it was absolutely amazing, and we loved it. And hopefully we can go to and visit many other places. But I just wanted to share that, you know, I am familiar with some parts of the world. And so now we'll go to the next slide. Oh, Astana. I loved Astana. I love Kazakhstan so much. I miss it. I want to go back. But let's talk about why I'm here. So criminal justice is how governments use to prevent crime and punish people who break the law, right? Every place in this world has laws. And to enforce those laws, you need criminal justice. And criminal justice is a very specific type of study. And before maybe the 20th century, there was something called criminology, okay? And criminology is the study of crime, like geography is the study of the earth, and sociology is the study of the science. Criminology has always been the study of crime, but the criminal justice, when you hear about criminal justice, it's really a newer area of study and very popular here in America and also popular around the world. Now, the cool thing that everybody wants to study is forensic science, you know, criminal investigation, CSI, crime scene, all of that interesting stuff. Forensic science is a great way to help solve crimes, again, to prevent injustice around the world. So forensic science is very important, and I think it's a very interesting career to study. And these careers that I'm talking about, these courses of study that I'm talking about are very much based in science. So on television, you may not see it, but you really have to be passionate about science to study what I'm going to talk about today. So if you love biology, chemistry, a little bit of math, physics, engineering, things like that, these are awesome things to study. If you don't like math, if you don't like science, me personally, not a science person ever, this would not be something I could do. But if you love science and you love math and you love the idea of these careers, then go for it. So in criminal justice, we have forensic science, but there's also other things that you can study as well. You can study law and criminal procedures and criminal law, corrections, which is like prisons and jails. Oh, I see someone from Georgia. Awesome. So there are different things that you can study, but we're going to talk about a couple areas that I'm really excited to tell you about. First is fire science. Second is cybercrime. Third is applied mathematics. And then we have forensic science. I saved the best for last. Forensics, actually, they're all great. They're all the best, but I think a lot of students are interested in forensic science. So I saved that one for the end so that we can talk about it. So next slide, please. Okay, the first one is fire science. And what does that feel like? What does that look like? What is fire science? So fire science is studying how fires start and how things burn, okay? This is a really big topic here in America right now. There are very devastating wildfires in California. So it is something that we here in the United States are thinking about. And so if you study fire science, you look at how things catch fire, how they burn, the damage, and also how to prevent fires. And then you study how to investigate them. So if it was a criminal act of fire, you study what we call arson, which is, setting fires on purpose. You also study how to handle chemicals and fire and tools used to control the fires outdoors, like I mentioned here in the United States. So how to combat the fires outdoors, in a home, or in commercial properties, business, things like that. So it's actually, there's a lot of different areas to study. And in fire science, the education is can be something like 2 years degree, or you can get a 4 years degree and even go farther, because there's a lot of interesting ways to study fire science. But to get most jobs in America is maybe 2 or 4 year degree. Next slide. So to have the career in fire science, like the firemen, you need to be able to communicate. You have to have strength in tough situations. Fire is it's a very scary, very tough career. So you have to be able to be flexible and be able to do that. Commitment and determination, caring and understanding. Fire is very scary. People can be they get very sad, they get very stressed out, if they lose their home to fires. So you have to be able to understand, you have to be able to speak clearly when you're doing the fire science. And then of course, leadership, to be, the leader of, the firefighters or emergency services. So next slide. And here are the job opportunities. And with each of these areas, I want to talk about the job opportunities, because if you're going to study, the goal is to have a great job, and a job that you can be proud of, and a job that, makes your family and your community happy that you're doing. So here are some of the jobs you can get with fire science: firefighter, emergency services. In America, you can study fire science, and within fire science, you can also study what we call emergency services, like the ambulance or the paramedics. That's something you can do here as well. You can also study safety. So you could be a safety manager for buildings, for businesses. You can be safety manager for schools, not just being a firefighter, but a lot of different careers within fire science. All right, I think we're going to go to our next area. So next slide. Cybercrime. So this is interesting. You probably see this on a lot of television shows and movies maybe, but cybercrime and digital forensics is a very interesting field of study. So a cybercrime education is digital forensics. And that is when you study evidence from computers, cell phones, tablets, any type of device, and you study them to be used as part of the criminal investigation. So when you are doing digital forensics, what you do is you isolate a device. So let's say you are part of a team investigating crime, and you find the cell phone. So the first thing you do in digital forensics is you get the device so that nothing can be changed, no deleting, no wiping out the phone to look for evidence. Then you make copies of the device, and then you keep the original safe for evidence. And then you go in and you look at the data. You call logs, texts, photos, location, GPS, all of those things. Like, it actually does look like that in real life, like it does in the movies and television. And so with digital forensics and cybercrime, you use tools and techniques to look for those devices. Cybersecurity is another area, and this is a career that has a lot of potential. There's a lot of money, and it's a very growing career, and there's a lot of great opportunities. So cybersecurity is protecting networks, computers, and data from the attacks. So cyber attacks, hackers, things like that. So if you do cybersecurity, it includes managing who can access your computer systems, what we call risk management, making sure that, if something happens, that all of the data is secure. And then if there's an incident, you can fix it. Excuse me. And cybersecurity is always changing. And that's why it's such a fun and fascinating field because it's always changing. There's new threats. So if you are interested in computer science, computers, this would be a great career to study in the United States. And then you could work for international corporations, you can work for global businesses, you can work for governments. There's a lot of job opportunity out there. And so they always need those people. So this is a very, this is a very prestigious and a fast growing major. And so next slide, please. And so the skills, so what you need to be a cybercrime major and to have a career is details. You have to be able to focus on the small things because with computers, computer science and data, there's so much information. Creativity is very important. You have to be able to problem solve. When security risks happen, or if you are given data that you need to find for a criminal case or anything like that, you have to creatively solve it. So you have to be very creative. Communication, teamwork. When you do cybersecurity, you work within a team of people. So you have to be very good at teamwork, and then organization. You have to be a very organized person because you're handling a lot of hardware, you know, like computers and phones, and then data as well. So next slide, please. And the job opportunities, not necessarily within the criminal justice or the law area, but there's so many great private opportunities. So database, information technology, information security analyst, software engineer, all of these with a degree in cybersecurity and cybercrime, you could work for Meta, you could work for Google, you could work for Apple, you could work for Amazon, you could work for banking, you could even work for sports teams like football teams, you know, things like that. You could work for airlines, but tourists, you know, there's not necessarily criminal justice, but a lot of different areas. So if you've always, you know, wanted to work for Google or Meta, this would be a great career to have if you're interested. Next slide, please. And we have applied mathematics. Now this is for people who love mathematics. Math is not my strong suit, but every time I have a student who wants to do applied mathematics, I'm so proud of them because it is a lot of math. But basically with applied mathematics, you use math, calculus, linear algebra, differential equations, all of those fun things in industries. So engineering and social sciences. So if you have an applied math degree, you could work for engineering. You could be an engineer. You could work in the medical field. You could work, again, for sports teams or Google, you know, have a very luxurious life doing applied mathematics. So with math, you need things like statistics, physics, graph, algorithms, all of those things. And with applied mathematics, we really need an advanced degree. So that means you would get your 4-year degree. In the US, it's a 4-year degree, what we call our bachelor's. And then you would go on and get the second degree after the bachelor's, which we call master's. And then, of course, the final degree that you can get in the United States is a doctorate. And all of these careers in these areas of study, you can all get the 4-year degree, the following 2-year degree, and then a doctorate. It's fine. All right. So next slide. All right. Skills needed for math. Math. The biggest skill you need for mathematics, applied mathematics, is math. Problem solving, being able to reading comprehension. So being able to read complex math equations and statistics and data, and being able to do that, as well as learning. Much like cybercrime, there's new things happening. So you have to be able to learn very quickly. So that's what we need for math. next up, excuse me. Now, it might be hard to read this because there's so many interesting careers with a math degree, applied math. So things like supply chain, like Amazon or shipping, mailing, financial analysts, accounting, things like a nuclear engineer, applied mathematics, you can work in nuclear sciences. I think that's amazing. I think that's so cool. Business, economist, database, stats, architect. You could work as an architect with applied mathematics. Some of our international students who study applied mathematics work for global architects and help build hotels and resorts and all of that fancy stuff. I think it's awesome. So even though we are a school of criminal justice and most of our students are interested in the legal aspect, there are things that you can do that don't necessarily have to do with law and can be very fancy. I think it's great. Next slide, please. The most popular one, forensic science. So this is really what people are interested in. Our students in the US are interested because, again, they watch the TV shows, they see the movies, they listen to the podcasts, the true crime, and forensic science is that. So forensic science uses scientific methods to solve legal and criminal problems. The word forensic in English means law. So whenever you see something that says forensics, know that in English that means law. So forensic science applies law to the sciences. Forensic, digital forensics, like I mentioned a few slides ago, digital forensics is law and, digital devices. So that's a great way to think, that's how you can remember what this means. So forensic science uses science and applies it to the law, okay? And in the United States and a lot of other parts of the world, I don't want to speak for the entire world because it's a very big world out there, but forensic science use the scientific method to help solve crimes, okay? The goal of a forensic science is to analyze physical evidence, okay? We're going to talk about some other areas, but forensic science is physical evidence, your fingerprints, your blood, your DNA. And what you do is you find it, you test it in a lab, and then you evaluate it. And then it uses those sciences, chemistry, biology, and physics to understand what we're seeing. So you need to have a background in biology, chemistry, and physics in order to be a forensic science. It's not like on TV and in movies, sometimes it looks like there's more action involved, on the TV shows, but really it's a lot of science, it's a lot of lab work, but you get to wear the coat, and maybe you have some glasses and you have some fun lab equipment, but you take forensic science is all of the physical evidence, okay? So it's very important in criminal justice because you have to be able to apply sciences to real life crimes and situations. So you have to analyze, report, and then testify. So what makes forensic science so interesting is that not only do you analyze it, but then you have to testify. And in the United States, a forensic scientist will collect the evidence. Oh, I see that somebody's interested. That's great. Somebody will take the evidence and analyze it, and then will say, this is the blood of the victim, or this are the fingerprints of this person at the crime scene. So there's, again, legal parts, not just science. And you need to have a lot of training. And so in America, you want to make sure that you get not only the 4 years degree, but then go on to get PhD. So you can do that here in America. And in forensic science, we have some other areas, which is cell and molecular biology, and then toxicology. So let's go to the next slide and we'll go over those in a bit. Okay, so the skills we need for forensic science: managing your time, problem solving, understanding legal processes, and not the law. there are different legal systems all over the world. So when you study criminal justice in the United States, you're not studying the American legal system so much. You're studying what makes things legal. Okay. So for forensic science, when you're studying legal, the legal part of science, it's more like how to collect the evidence legally so that it's not tampered with. Thinking critically, computers, what we call in English multitasking, but being able to do many tasks at once, because as a forensic scientist, you're working on many different cases. You're working on many different things. Fingerprints for this, blood for this crime scene. So you have to be very organized. Okay, next slide, please. So the job opportunities in forensic science, I think these are interesting. So you can be a criminalist, which criminalists reconstruct the crime scene. So if you have a forensic science degree, you construct the crime scene and you help people figure out what happened at the crime scene. Toxicologists, they do more of the body fluids, nails, makeup, perfume, all of those things are evidence. A pathologist does the autopsies. So unfortunately, if there is a dead body, a pathologist will work on the body to determine how they died, when they died, and anything that happened on the body. My favorite, and the one I think is the most interesting, is a forensic anthropologist. So remember, forensic means law, and then anthropology is the study of societies, and buildings, and why people do the things that they do. So forensic anthropologists can identify human bones and discover where and why they died, and also have a background in archaeology, because sometimes you may find bones at a scene and then you have to dig it up and excavate it and find things. But a forensic anthropologist can also work for museums and can help recreate and determine how ancient people lived and how they died. And that would be, if I were to do forensic science, I think I would do that one because I love museums. I love history, so this would be the one that I love the most. But I just think that's a really cool one. And then a document examiner. I also think this is they're all cool. These are all really cool jobs. I hope if you're interested in any of these, you can study them because they're so fun. They're so interesting. I think it's cool. I think a document examiner is cool, but I'm kind of a nerd. But document examiners analyze handwriting and signatures, and they access documents that have been damaged or too old. Maybe you find something and you can't read it, or the paper is deteriorating and you can't interpret it. So they use technology and scanning to recreate it, to find it. I think it's so cool. And again, this has applications to do things that aren't necessarily law related. But again, working for a museum, working as a private investigator, so cool, just so cool. Okay, next slide, please. Excuse me, cell and molecular biology. So cell and molecular biology is a part of forensic science, but this studies cells, right? The little things that make up us, that make up everything, cells, right? And specifically how living things grow and reproduce. So this includes biochemistry, microbiology, genetics, and immunology. So so when you do cell and molecular biology, you study organisms like viruses, plants, animals, and humans, which is, again, a big part of what a lot of research right now. So you can study things like cancer, different diseases that are coming out, or you can study the effects of certain things on animals and even humans. And if you do it legally, you would kind of study, the microorganisms and the cells of maybe crime victims. So cell biologists, you look at all of those, you look at what makes up again, plants, viruses, whatever. And you can use it, you can work in medicine, obviously, farming, which I think is really interesting. Cell and molecular biologists are really important to farming and to making sure that, you know, there's sustainable and safe plants and animals. And if there's a virus or some kind of bacteria that's affecting those things, a cell and molecular biologist can help with that and can solve it. And you can also teach this subject. A lot of these careers also allow you to teach, which is also very cool. So if where you're from, say they don't have a forensic scientist, maybe your village or your city doesn't have a lot of forensic scientists. Maybe you study it and then you become a forensic scientist. And then after a while, you create a program to teach other people in your, you know, in your city, in your country, how to become forensic scientists. That's another aspect of all of these. And this degree allows students to go to medical school in the United States. So a lot of our students who are interested to become doctors will study cell and molecular biology. Next slide, please. Ooh, so many jobs, so many careers in cell and molecular biology. Again, super fun things though. Cancer research, optometrist, right? Glasses, dentist, a botanist, a teacher, a pharmacist. You know, even if you're thinking of something that, again, isn't related necessarily to criminal justice, but you wanted to be a veterinarian, you want to be a dentist, you want to be a dietitian, you know, an epidemiologist, you want to study viruses and diseases and pathogens and help prevent, you know, more of those outbreaks. You can study in America, you can study in New York City, and do all of those things. So the next slide, please. Okay, toxicology, last but certainly not least. Toxicologists use science to prevent the safety and well-being of other people. And so this is more chemistry based. So this is a lot of chemicals, chemical compounds, and things that I like to say cell and molecular biology is about what's in the body, your cells, things like that. Toxicology is the stuff outside of the body. So chemicals, makeup, perfumes, rain, water, dirt, all of those things. And then modern technology, they use modern technology to do studies to ensure that chemicals are safe to be used by humans, animals, as well as for use in things like medicine, farming, and makeup. So next, so if you like makeup, if you want to do makeup, you can study toxicology and actually work for a makeup company. Next slide, please. So these job opportunities, makeup and cosmetic toxicology, regulations. So you could work with government agencies to make sure that chemicals are disposed of safely and that, you know, all of these chemicals are being used appropriately, medical. And then forensic toxicology is just studying chemicals within a criminal justice atmosphere. And then I believe is that my last slide? I think so. Yes. Awesome.
Thank you. We also have a bunch of questions dedicated to the forensic science, so I think we can also proceed to those ones. So you guys have a chance to submit your questions in case you have some more of them. But I will go over those that we have prepared for Colin, and we'll ask him to answer them. So one of the first one was, what is the application package and what is the process for a forensic science degree application?
Excellent question. Like most colleges and universities in the United States, you need to be able to provide your high school information, or if you're looking to study farther, if you've already attended university, your university information. And that is based specifically on the country and university or high school that you attended. But most important to study forensic science is you have to have a background in science. You already have to have the education in high school or university in biology, chemistry, physics, and math. So if you don't have that, it can be difficult to get into the forensic science for the 4-year degree or the higher degree. So definitely make sure that you have your biology, chemistry, physics, and math.
And would that mean that they would have to finish their first bachelor degree and they can take and then they can take the other bachelor degree, or just switching to a master degree? How is it working?
So for students who are coming from the high school, as long as in high school you studied the biology, you studied chemistry, that is absolutely fine, and you can start your 4-year degree in forensic science. If you have gone to university already, you can apply your university, as long as you have science, to maybe getting another bachelor's degree in the United States. Also, if you are a doctor where you're from, or a nurse, or a researcher, or you have had a career in science or the science areas, you can also come to the United States and study.
That's good to know. So just to double check on that once again, so would that mean that a student that is now in his high school and he has like really great achievements, he studied biology, he studied chemistry, and for example, he has a lot of Olympiads and he's excelling in all those, that they can have the chance to apply
Yes.
like directly to that bachelor degree?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Most universities in the United States will look at your information from your high school and they will say, ooh, they have biology, they have chemistry, they have physics, perfect. Another option, and what I loved about the Education USA video at the beginning, is if you don't have your science, so in high school or in your university, if you studied business, if you studied fashion, if you studied something that isn't science, you can go to the United States and do 2 years of community college or junior college and take those science courses and then transfer within the United States to a school that has forensic science.
Yeah, I also consider that as a great option.
Yes.
Okay, good. So the next question that we have is, can students get a scholarship at your institution for this major?
Yes, yes. So one of the things about studying in the United States is there are scholarship opportunities. And the best way to look at the opportunities is to work with Education USA and also work with the college that you want to study at. So my college, John Jay College, does have scholarships for students to study in the United States. However, you need to make sure that in order to get the appropriate paperwork to study in the United States, the visa, you still have to show monetarily you have the money to study in the United States. Every college is different, but scholarships can help you with that. So at John Jay College, we have a whole website. I'm going to share my screen very quickly. And on our website, we have, I'm scrolling very fast. I'm sorry, I'm starting at the top, but look at all these scholarships. Oh my gosh. But we have a whole website and you can search over 119 scholarships. And so for this one, the Breen Murray Memorial Scholarship, we give $2,000 an academic term, and international students are eligible for it. Some scholarships at universities you need to be a US citizen or permanent resident, so be very careful about reading the information so that you apply to the appropriate things. Some scholarships we have are based only on student need. And then you can also, another great thing that I told students is look at your own government and your country. And sometimes governments will give students scholarship to study something like forensic science to help build those programs in their own country. So there's a lot of great options, but yes, our school has something, we have the Breen Murray scholarship and 118 other scholarships. So there is scholarship opportunity, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Then we go to the next question. I think you already mentioned something on that, but I think it would be helpful just to maybe remind or repeat that. Can forensic science be integrated with other disciplines, such as psychology or law enforcement? And how can students from diverse backgrounds contribute to this integration?
Yes, you can use forensic science in psychology. You can study psychology and then concentrate in science. You can go to medical school with forensic science as your degree. And what we love at John Jay, being a university in New York City, is New York City is full of everyone from all over the world. So we actively want and we actively are proud that we represent we have students from over 60 countries from all over the world speaking so many different languages. And it's you coming here and studying forensic science, law, psychology that makes us better, because you are bringing your perspectives from your countries, from your background, and helping us, because the world, it's a global world. And we are excited that we bring in police officers from China every year. We have police officers from Ireland come and study our criminal justice, and then they go criminal justice and forensic science, and they go back to their countries and apply it and make their areas a lot safer. So we love it, and I actively encourage you to study in the US if you can, because we love getting those views from students from different parts of the world. It makes us better.
Thank you, Colin. Then we move to the next one. What would you recommend to international students who are interested in specializing in a niche area of forensic science, such as forensic anthropology, which you already mentioned, or digital forensics?
I think make sure that you have the what we call the foundation education, either in high school or your own university or your own career. That's the most important thing. A lot of students will be interested in forensic science, but have no science. So as long as in high school you have a little bit of science, you should be okay. And if not, what you need to do is make sure that you utilize the community colleges in the United States to get your background and then transfer. But other than that, as long as you are interested in science, you like science because you study it a lot. If you don't like science, do not do this. Do other things. But if you like science, this is such a great career. This is such a great thing to study. Math is required. I'm not a math person, but you have to take calculus and high-level math. You need to use computers and lab equipment. So if you're interested in that, even if you don't have the background, but if you're interested in those things and you have passion for it, you'll be fine. But you have to have the passion for it.
Okay, good. So now, as you've already added on these details, I just wanted to know about the tests, because they would need to provide the English proficiency test. Either that would be TOEFL, Duolingo. What about the optional tests like SAT or GRE, GMAT? Do they need to provide that also?
It depends on, each college is different, requiring, every college is going to want to see your English proficiency. But in terms of the SAT, each college is different. There's so many universities in the United States, so it's very important that if you find and research the colleges, you ask the same question to each college. Do I need TOEFL? Do I need SAT? Do I need what do I need? I will tell you that you will have to prove that you've completed high school or completed university. So make sure you have your diploma, or whatever it's called in your country, that you've completed your high school or your university. That's very important so that we can determine that you meet our academic requirements. And it's always good to have TOEFL and those scores, but each college is going to be different. So when you reach out to the universities, if you email them, always ask them, do I need TOEFL? What documents? What translations? And you'll find that each one is different.
What about John Jay College? Do they request that, or what would be that?
Yes, we request TOEFL. We will request high school information or university information translated and evaluated. And you can use a service, and the school can help you find that, or your Education USA advisors can help you find the translation services. And then if you have, for the students in maybe the high schools, SAT would definitely be very helpful.
Okay, so it gives some more points and some more chances to
And
the
yes,
application
in
process.
most universities in the United States, if a student has something like SAT, they will use that to help international students get scholarships. So sometimes there's more scholarship opportunity if you have SAT. It's not required, but some colleges will give, there is some benefits to having the SAT. So if you can take SAT, it's probably a good thing.
For sure, yes. Thank you. And the last one, how important is it for international students to stay up to date with forensic science research and trends, and how can they access this information from abroad? Maybe some websites or some links that they might have useful. What do you think about that?
Yes, there are a lot of great websites. There's the International Association of Forensic Scientists. There are publications. It really depends on what your interests are. But the one thing I will say is don't go by television or movie. I think I like those shows. We watch the FBI shows every week. We love them. They're very fun. But that is not what the real careers look like. So just make sure that you're using your critical thinking skills to make sure that if you're looking at forensic science information, that it's from what we would consider like a reputable source, like a university, a college, or a professional organization. Maybe not TikTok.
For sure. Thank you so much, Colin. Thank you so much for sharing with us your presentation and your answers on the questions that we have prepared. And thank you guys for being with us today. I really appreciate your attendance, and please, if you have questions afterwards, and if you didn't have the chance to view us online, you can also submit your question or send us an email. You can find that on our website. And again, for February, we have planned other interesting webinars related to some unusual majors that many of you might be interested in, as you are maybe now in the process of researching for your programs or for your major. So here we have also a QR code on our screen that you can scan, and you can access our agenda for this month. And for Colin, thank you so much for allowing time to present today. And we really hope that we can cooperate on some other webinars. And if you guys have some more, questions specifically for Colin, let us know. We can always give you his contact information, and he can provide you more details on forensic science. Thank you once again, everyone, and I wish you a great evening.